All right, welcome everyone. I'll call this meeting to order. It's good to have everybody here this evening. First thing on our agenda is a public hearing, and the first item on that agenda is the annexation of the McCoy property along Skyline Drive. Is anyone here to speak to that? All right, very good. We'll move next item. Oh, sir, yes.
I'm Ethan Buckingham. I'm the developer on the piece of property. Second generation developer and builder. So I want to thank y'all for looking at it and helping put together a good product for y'all. It is R1A, so we're going to try to spread them out a little bit, so it's a little bit different than what you've seen here recently. So yeah. Thank y'all for looking at it.
All right, thank you. Next item is budget amendment for fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Anyone here to speak to that? All right, very good. Next item is amendment to Title 13, Chapter 2, Section 13-270, wastewater treatment tap fee schedule for the Jonesborough Municipal Code. Anyone here to speak to that exciting subject? All right. Next item in the public hearing is amendment to Title 11, Chapter 5 of the Jonesborough Municipal Code for provisions relating to zoning entitled Provisions Governing Use District, by adding section 11-517E entitled Corridor Overlay District, and to establish design guideline standards for such districts. Anyone here to speak to that? Just our attempt to keep town beautified as much as we can. Appreciate Glenn's work on that. Last item is amendment to the Jonesborough Municipal Code Title 9, Chapter 7, Junk Vehicles, by adding sections 9-707 through 9-711. Anyone here to speak to that? All right, if not, I'll close that public hearing and move into our regular meeting. And first item on the agenda is opening prayer by Vice Mayor Adam Dixon.
Let us all pray. God, we bless you and we thank you for this day that you have allowed us to see. We thank you for the health and the strength that you have given us. God, we thank you for a mind to look unto the hills from whence cometh our help. We are just grateful people, all that you have provided us for this moment in time. God, we know that we're not lucky, but we are blessed. And we thank you for all of your wonderful blessings. Lord, we know that there are people that are struggling. We know that there are people that are dealing with sickness. We know that there are people that are dealing with hardship. Continue to soften our hearts that we will empathize with those individuals. Help where we can. Show love, because that's what you've commanded us to do, to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, and to love you with all. And so, God, we ask that you continue to impress upon our minds to give, to love, to be merciful, to be gracious. We thank you and we appreciate you. God, guide this meeting. Guide all the town servants and this wonderful staff. Continue to strengthen this community. That's our prayer. Ask that you guide our deliberations this evening. We ask it all, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Adam. Ruth, who do you have to lead the pledge tonight?
Alderman Kelly Wolf.
Hey! Let us honor America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
I know. That's how I did it. Honor America. I'm glad you picked up on that.
All right, we'll do roll call.
Mayor Vest?
Here.
Alderman Causey?
Here.
Alderman Counterman?
Here.
Alderman Dixon?
Here.
Alderman Wolf?
Present.
All right, we're all here. It's good to see everybody. Now we'll move into our consent agenda, and got about 7 items on that. Alderman, is anything in there you wish to pull out and discuss or anything?
I move for approval as presented.
All right, I got a motion to approve by Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf?
Aye.
Alderman Causey?
Aye.
Alderman Counterman?
Aye.
Alderman Dixon?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Kind of like that, we had some personnel things in there and selling some old surplus equipment we got. So pretty clean consent agenda. Now we'll move into our regular agenda. First item there is our financial report. Alderman, any questions or comments on our financial report?
Robert, how are we doing?
think we're in pretty good shape, Mr. Wolf.
Good, good. Have you gotten any better idea when the new financial software will be up and running for us?
Part of it depends on when the meters are completely changed out.
Okay.
I hesitate to switch billing onto the new software until that process is done and intact within one software before jumping to another.
Yes,
But General Ledger and that activity, those modules should be active on July 1st. Billing might be a touch later. Just depends on timing for the meter change outs.
Sometime middle of the year then is what it sounds
Yes.
like. Okay,
Very good.
thank you for that. I move to approve the financial report as presented.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
I'll second.
Got a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
All right, motion carried. Now we're going to move into some communications from the mayor. Just a couple of things here, and Kelly touched on the financial report there and how we were doing. We had, for the month of December, which our last sales tax collections, it was record collections for the town of Jonesborough in December of 2022. About one was 15% over the year before, which was another banner year. So sales tax collection's good, and I think if you look at it, might have been because of Cookout. Cookout opened in December, so maybe we bought a lot of barbecue over there, or more likely their shakes, yeah.
That's right.
But that was good to see. Appreciate the staff working overtime up at Lincoln Park. They've been doing a great job up there. The park looks great, and I appreciate them being out there on Saturdays and well past their quitting time. I've driven up there and seen them still out there working, so that's why that park's going to be a great one. And appreciate Glenn and Craig and all our staff, their foresight when we had the freeze back in December. Is almost immediately they talked about keeping track of our expenses in case we won't be able to reimburse from FEMA, and that's come to fruition. So it's good that I was able to call them and say, hey, you got the number, and they pretty well got a decent number on what we could get reimbursed. So I appreciate that foresight by that good group we've got here.
Yep.
And now I've got a couple other fun things to do, several fun things. I've got some committee appointments. We've got the first one to the Jonesborough Planning Commission. We got Richie Hayward here, down here. Hey, Richie. I think we all know him. Richie's a great volunteer for the town of Jonesborough, does a lot of good things, and he'll be a great asset to our Planning Commission. So he's on the agenda here to be appointed to the Planning Commission, and also to our Historic Zoning Commission, appointing Chad Hilton to an unexpired term that became available. And Chad lives up around Washington Drive, is a business owner here in town, and I think he'll be a great addition to the Historic Zoning Commission. So Alderman, if you would, I would love to see a motion to approve those two. Yeah, got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, Richie, you got hired. Get your job.
Another non-paying job, Rich.
So I have to deal with Richie?
Yeah. Part of his job's keep an eye on you, Glenn.
I shouldn't have opened my mouth.
Now, one other little thing here is that, Craig, part of our consent agenda is always a write-up from the town administrator and operations manager and Craig. And one thing he touched on, of course, is the sidewalk project up East Main Street, and I appreciate him taking the time to put that in there. We did get a low bid back from a company, and they had their pre-work meeting, and as Craig says, that went well. But the contractor is finishing up some work down at McGee-Tyson Airport, so he's a little behind getting that done down there because of the weather. But I think as soon as he's done down there, he'll be beginning. Is that correct, Craig?
Yes, Mayor, we were doing some arm twisting to try to give him a drop dead date that he would start, and he says that's April 3rd. Again, we've got almost 2 weeks worth of rain forecast for the next couple of weeks, so we're going to cross our fingers that he makes that date. but it's supposed to be April 3rd, it's a start date.
Now, to me, the important thing is we get started at some point and get that thing done. And I can understand him being behind. We've had the same issues with Lincoln Park and the weather, the freeze back in December, and all those kind of things can push somebody behind. So it's good we had a good meeting with him, and hope that project gets started as soon as he finishes up down there. All right, next couple of items is Employee of the Month. I'm going to take all my goodies down here.
You need help?
Mr. Tim Banner.
Hey, Tim.
You know why you're sitting out there? You know why you're sitting out there?
Good.
All right, I get to read all these
Okay.
things that Malcolm said about you. He's bragging on you pretty hard. I'll let you hold that right there. For March of 2023, I would like to nominate Street Department employee Tim Banner for Employee of the Month. The Street Department is a close-knit group of hard-working individuals comprising a great team. If you know Tim, you already know of his unflappable character. Tim is a fine, upstanding man who showcases his character and integrity each day on each project and during each interaction. Tim completes each and every job or task with a level of dedication that is rarely seen. To say Tim is a team player is a vast understatement. Tim is our animal control officer, as well as holding a central spot on the street department. Whether in a dump truck or a piece of equipment, driving a snow removal vehicle, or responding to yet another animal control issue, Tim is all in. Tim is always willing to help on any task or project, a solid citizen who adds value and depth to our tight-knit street department team. Tim has a positive attitude and a can-do spirit. Tim is responsible, dependable, considerate, and mindful of coworkers, timely and skilled, and a true asset to our town. Tim has been with the town of Jonesborough for 14 years, appreciate that, Tim, and has a solid record of excellent service, the proper work ethic and attitude. So Tim is my choice for Employee of the Month. That's my Malcolm. All right. Appreciate Tim, anything you'd like to say to anybody?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, buddy.
You always know when we got Jimmy around in the house, he runs around with some pretty people. So we've got two Miss Jonesborough here tonight. I'd like to ask Miss Cammie Floyd to come up first. She is Miss Historic Jonesborough Teen for 2023. And we get to give you a key to the city since you're a Miss Jonesborough. You're welcome. Let me read this here. It says, whereas Cammie Floyd was crowned Miss Historic Jonesborough Teen 2023 at the annual Miss Jonesborough pageant. And whereas Cammie Floyd has established herself as an outstanding role model for young people and is a student at Daniel Boone High School. And whereas Cammie Floyd has chosen Cammie's Cause as her social impact initiative to move awareness into action to promote a safe place for students K through 12 who live with parents or guardians with drug or alcohol addiction. And this safe place will include people like herself who can speak or talk one-on-one from personal experience and be a positive role model. And whereas the town of Jonesborough and its citizens greatly appreciate the individual sacrifice and dedication that Ms. Floyd is and will be shown in representing and promoting her platform and the town of Jonesborough. Then now, therefore, be it resolved that this proclamation be issued in the honor of Cammie Floyd, Miss Historic Jonesborough Teen 2023, in recognition of her achievements and accomplishments, and be accorded the sincerest congratulations and best wishes from the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the citizens of the town of Jonesborough. May Miss Floyd continue to be blessed in whatever endeavors she may undertake. Thank you.
Thank
Anything you'd like to share?
It is an honor to be here tonight. I'm so excited to serve Historic Jonesborough, and I'm so excited for the year ahead of me to Miss Team Tennessee. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we've got Miss Historic Jonesborough 2020, Eliza Faith Sanders. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You get your own key there too.
Thank you so
I think they
much.
work different doors, so. Says, whereas the Miss Historic Jonesborough Scholarship Pageant is a Miss America preliminary, and whereas the Miss America Scholarship Program represents the largest single source of scholarships for the young ladies of this nation, and whereas Eliza Sanders was crowned Miss Historic Jonesborough 2023 at the annual Miss Jonesborough pageant, thereby becoming the official ambassador of Tennessee's oldest town. And whereas Eliza Sanders has established herself as an outstanding role model for young people and is continuing her education at Northeast State Community College. And whereas Eliza Sanders has chosen Families Are Forever as her social initiative and serves as a student ambassador for Isaiah's 117 House. And whereas the town of Jonesborough and its citizens greatly appreciate the individual sacrifice and dedication that Miss Sanders is and will be showing in representing and promoting her platform in our town. Then, now, therefore, be it resolved that this proclamation be issued in the honor of Eliza Faith Sanders, Miss Historic Jonesborough 2023, in recognition of her many achievements and accomplishments. Be it also proclaimed that Eliza Sanders is hereby an honorary citizen to the town of Jonesborough, that she be given the key to our town, and that she is officially invited to represent Jonesborough at all town functions. Be it further proclaimed that Eliza Sanders be accorded the sincerest congratulations and best wishes in the Miss Tennessee pageant and beyond from the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and the citizens of the town of Jonesborough. Anything you'd like to share?
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I am beyond excited to have my year of service to this town. I'm just so excited to be able to serve you all, and I hope that by the end of the year, this will feel just like a hometown to me. I've already done some events and visited some businesses and some schools in your community, and I have already fallen in love with this town. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here today and for allowing me to have this year of service with you all.
Thank you. All right. Again, congratulations to everyone. Alderman, that's all I've got. Now we'll move into citizens' comments. If anybody that lives in the town of Jonesborough, one of our water customers, if you'd like to say anything, you can share it tonight. Anyone here to speak to the board? Ruth. If you would, just, we know your name, but state your name for the record. And you know the drill.
Yeah, I'm Ruth Verhage. I'm president of Jonesborough Paws and Blue, and that's the reason I'm here. We have coming up on April 14th, everybody write the date down, our fundraiser for the barbecue dinner. It will be, this year it will be at the Jonesborough Senior Center, and takeout will begin at 5 o'clock, and then sit-down service will begin at 6. Prices are the same as last year. So
Try to find that somewhere.
Pardon?
Try to find that somewhere else.
Well, I'll have a flyer for you next meeting, so it'll have those on it. So I hope I'll see all of you there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Yep.
I'm Carol Salinas. I live at 303 West Main Street. And I was talking with some of my friends the other day, and we were thinking of, as much as Jonesborough is growing and bringing in new families, we have the new school, there's things that I don't know if anybody else has been concerned with or not. One is there's no daycare center in Jonesborough anymore. And with all the new families coming in, that's something that maybe we ought to look into it. You have to take your kids to Johnson City for daycare. The other thing is, and maybe this isn't as important to most of us who have washers and dryers in our homes, but there's no commercial laundromat anymore, at least not one that I take my clothes to. I know one of them is totally closed and gone the way of better things, I guess, and the other one, someone was telling me, don't take your clothes there.
Yeah.
So these are just two things that
All right.
I've thought about and wondered about.
Thank you,
That's all.
Carol. We'll hope somebody's got the entrepreneurial spirit and they'll step up and open those things up. Anyone else?
My name's Brian Mills. I lived on East Main Street. I've lived here in Jonesborough since 2003, or was it 2002? Anyway, time flies. So we're very pleased to see that we'll have a sidewalk finally come in. We've been wanting that since I've been here, so we thank you very much for that. But of course, the devil is always in the details, and maybe I've missed some things. I've been out of town traveling and what have you. But it'd be very nice to see what it looks like, what the material is. And I would imagine that since you do care about the pedestrians who are going to be using it, and as we all know that they already speed down there, that you will be considering in the construction, hopefully, before you construct it, about traffic calming that can be incorporated within the sidewalk. I personally, I'm not an engineer, but it seems a little bit day late, dollar short to have consideration of such a matter after you've put it in. So, as I said, maybe you could consider that and do the job properly from the get-go. Just an opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Right, anyone else? All right, now we'll move into Alderman Communications. Alderman, Virginia, anything you want to share with people tonight?
I do.
Yeah.
The recorder gave us a listing of certificates that all board members have to get. We have to get 12. I've got all 12 of mine. And
now we've armed her with more knowledge.
Too much knowledge, that's true. One thing that they did say is talking about our expenditures and making sure we have the budget lined up. And I think we need to look at the school project. I would like, as an alderman, like to see the contingency line items and see what has actually been taken out of each line item. And I think Mr. Rosenoff I've talked with him about it, and he's going to help us do that. Mm-hmm. The second thing is the TDEC grant. I would like to see the budget on it to see exactly the figures on it. I've asked for it, but I haven't gotten it yet. Stage door, I think we need to stop and think about it because we were supposed to have the figures, and I know Mr. Rosenoff is trying to get them, and we need to get those because we need to make sure we have money before we spend anything. Because it says in these little classes that I've been to that the board can be held responsible if we don't spend our money properly. So, and Mr. Rosenoff might address this.
Oh, very good.
I would like for him to address this.
All right, well, Alderman, anyone else?
Mayor, go ahead, Alderman.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that Carol's comments about daycare have not gone unnoticed. And so child care, not just an issue in Jonesborough, but regionally, and adequate child care, decent child care, very serious issue. And town administrator and I have had a conversation or two about it. I won't get into details this evening, but there is a regional focus right now on child care specifically, working with a particular effort called TQEE, Tennesseans for Quality Early Education, and Tim James and Upper East Tennessee Human Development. There's a number of organizations that are focused on that, but I think your point is well taken. Jonesborough does not have a facility, and you've got a lot of people, of course, working in Johnson City. We know thousands of cars daily going along 11E, working in Johnson City, and young families are living here in Tennessee's oldest town. They would like to have a space. So again, all of that is being discussed and taken into account.
All right, thank you, Adam. Terry? Yeah. Kelly?
Well, as part of my continuing roving duties for water and sewer.
Gaze on.
Never been on one of those before. It's exciting. You all should try it. Been working on a little bit of the backup power situation for water this month, a couple of weeks anyway. We continue to talk to Bright Ridge, who are very, very good partners for us in a quest to provide some degree of redundancy for power for our water system in the event of a mass outage like we've had before. And you can't help but think once you have a rolling blackout, there's probably another one in your future at some point. And we would hope to avoid the situation we had this last time, but there's no guarantees. So for us, it's incumbent upon us to protect our plant, our main pump station, our intake as best we can from the stress that was put on them by those rolling blackouts, or even just a regular normal incidental blackout that's weather related. Bright Ridge has been wonderful thus far. I know Glenn and Craig both have been spending a lot of time with them. Kevin Bobeck, our utility director. I think what we're going to be able to do is work with them to allow them to engineer this for us, save the additional monies that we would have spent to have contracted that engineering out ourselves, and then implement the redundancy through their transformers, through their electrical grid. So basically, instead of having to rewire your plant and put in a bunch of auxiliary power measures and breakers that would trip, we can actually work it through their system, through their breakers. Very good for us, I'll just tell you, financially. And it's also, I think, safer for our equipment because it can all happen behind the transformer instead of on our side of it. And you hope that provides greater safety and less likelihood of burning out a motor. We need to be very grateful and are very grateful to Mr. Dykes and Bright Ridge for what they're doing. Also, we're still talking about plant design. We're hoping to see some plant designs here in the near future that will give us an idea of exactly then, soon after, what our costs will be for the new water plant. So we're moving forward. It's not quick, but we're moving forward as far as addressing water concerns. I just wanted to kind of bring you all up to date. The next numbers you should see is cost on the generating capacity that would provide redundancy for us. And they can even do things like here at Town Hall, at the fire station, here at our headquarters for town government, provide some generating capacity for us here. And I think, Glenn, you guys may be looking at that as well.
Right, so we're looking at, we talked about the potential for if we have to do a temporary at Rock House, whereas the transmission lines go in and we take that out of service, that if there's one that could match up possibly for Town Hall and the post office. So depending on the size, whether or not it'd be compatible with that. So be able to use, if it's temporary for a while, to be permanent somewhere else.
Very good. Well, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Wolf.
Yep.
The update. Virginia, was there anything you wanted Glenn to?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yes.
I was having a hard time.
Well, I
hearing.
kind of moved on, I think, by part. So we'll come back to that. That's my fault.
Oh, was there a question?
I just wanted you to address.
Right. So one thing that Robert and I have been working on, as I've talked about it quite a bit, has been budget amendments. So of course next year we have probably a really good strategy for this year. I think as far as like stage door or anything else going on, I think April next month needs to be the date to where we look at the budget, and if there's additional monies for the stage door, then we look at the other line items that maybe it's a couple projects here and there that we know we won't get through this budget year, and start making budget amendments sooner than later.
That's good.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Virginia. Yeah, I was talking to Glenn there briefly about some of the things, mowing contract that we bid out. Our cost, if I added up right, our cost probably came back much, much lower than what it was last year, almost half what it was last year. So there's going to be some savings realized in that area. And then we just need, I think our sales tax is going to continue to be strong. So we'll end up on the plus side there. Next item on our agenda is town attorney comments. Glenn, Jim, you got anything?
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple of things. One, just to, moving on again with the work on the new water plant and the transmission line. This afternoon, we received 140 easement documents from the
Wow.
GRW, so we'll be working on those. And then
And that's
also,
for the transmission line?
that's for the transmission line.
Okay.
So we'll go to work on those. Then also wanted to let you know that we have met with Tennessee Hills to discuss the outdoor use policy since you last met. It's all sort of in our court, and Mr. Rosenoff and I are working towards responding to some requests they had. We'll be talking to you all individually about that. But tonight, we need to add to your agenda to extend their current outdoor use permit to your next meeting. You did that last meeting, but I think to be formal about it, we need to go ahead and do that again.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay. You got a motion to extend that agreement with Tennessee Hills until next month?
Actually, you need to add it to the agenda
Yep.
first. But,
All
So
right.
moved to add to the agenda.
Can I get a second to add that item to the agenda?
Second.
A second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine. Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, that's added to our agenda. You want us to cover that now, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Make a motion that we extend the outdoor use permit for Tennessee Hills till our next monthly meeting.
We got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Got a second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine. Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, that's extended. That's all from you, Jim?
That's all.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Very efficient.
All right, now we move into our old business. First item on that agenda is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading for the annexation of the McCoy property along Skyline Drive, including plan of services, a resolution annexing the property, and ordinance zoning the property R1A. Alderman, what's your pleasure there? I think we've a second reading. Going to be a good development.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Dixon,
Second.
second from Alderman Countermine.
There you go.
Any discussion? All right, call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Next item on our agenda is also second reading. It's discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading.
Check.
That had to be just on the plan of services. You have to take each of those one at a time.
And what the next one's going to be for resolution annexing the property?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to approve annexation of the McCoy property along Skyline Drive.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine. Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, very good. I see them all three in there now. All right, next item is approve the resolution annexing by request property, and we just did that. Approve the ordinance zoning the property R1A, low-density residential. Alderman, what's your pleasure there?
So moved.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Causey, a second by Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. So now we got that property in there. You guys can get the building over there. All right, next item is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance for the fiscal year 2022-23 budget amendments. Alderman, any discussion there? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Alderman Causey,
I'll second.
second from Alderman Wolf. Any discussion?
Good-looking budget amendments, Robert.
Yep, we go with Robert. Call for the vote. Mr.
Alderman
Recorder?
Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. All right, next item on our agenda is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance amending Title 13, Chapter 2, Section 13-270, wastewater treatment tap fee schedule of the Town of Jonesborough Municipal Code. Alderman, any discussion there? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'll move to approve as presented.
Motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second, Mayor.
Got a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? Call the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action concerning second and final reading of an ordinance amending Title 11, Chapter 5 of the Jonesborough Municipal Code for provisions relating to zoning entitled Provisions Governing Use District by adding Section 11-517E entitled Corridor Overlay District and to establish design guideline standards for such districts. Alderman, any other discussion on that?
Glenn, we didn't
Yes.
change anything in the end, is that right, after first reading?
Right, so the one before you, the cleaner copy without the red is the original, except that, well, let me say, the two basic changes were, watch me not find it, there's only like 6 pages, we might be here overnight for me to find it.
That's all right.
Just kidding.
If it was a typographic
One was,
error, it's
no,
fine.
one was the lighting,
Or the
signage and lighting.
35 to 25.
Signage and lighting, basically, that it was in effect, basically to follow the municipal code in effect at the time, and lighting is the same
All
way.
right, 10-4. Move for approval as presented.
Got a motion to approve from Alderman Wolf,
Second.
second from Alderman Causey.
And good job, Glenn.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval on second and final reading of an ordinance to amend Jonesborough Municipal Code Title 9, Chapter 7, Junk Vehicles by adding sections 9-707 through 9-711.
Would somebody give us just a 2 or 3 word sentence as to why this is necessary, please?
Jim, you want to touch on that?
I will. In looking at enforcement, we had provisions that dealt with junk vehicles, but in looking at enforcement, we wanted the ability, when a property owner just simply refuses to do it, for us to be able to go on and do it and have it charged back to them. So this won't be used in every case, but it is available if we need to go on and ourselves.
I think I asked it last time. Does this include boats or campers or anything like that?
Yes, we would argue that it does. It'll be up to the judge who's making the order for them to decide if they're going to include those or not.
Okay.
We would argue that.
All right. Any other discussion? If not, I'll take a motion.
Mayor, I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon. Got a second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
All right. Don't be letting your junk vehicle sit in the yard. Now we move into our new business. Couple of simple things here. Discussion possible action concerning approval of the Snow Hut contract for the 2023 Wetlands Water Park season. Anybody got any comments on that? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion to approve by Alderman Wolf,
Second.
second by Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Cameron.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
That motion carried. Mr. Gene Lloyd has been good service, offered good service down there for many years. All right, next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of a special event application request for the 2023 Garden Gala. It's all good little write-up on that. Any discussion, Alderman? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
I was just curious, and really mainly for my education, I was just wanting to ask the chief. I noticed that we're having to think about Woodrow and folks walking and whatnot, and just knowing that we're doing so many festivals, the thought of closing Woodrow and asking or having traffic take maybe Bowman or Depot Street, is that more of a hindrance, or has that ever been thought of?
That's because you got a garden on Woodrow this year, I think.
That's the first time we've had one in that area.
Mhm.
Yours?
Sorry. We've not seen in the past, from the past several years, they've had the event of traffic, that we had a big traffic issue with it. If it became an issue, then the thought process would be that we probably would close that section, reroute, probably down Main Street would be the easiest alternative route at that point.
I see.
Thank you.
And like I said, just a question. I appreciate it, Chief.
We got a motion to approve from Alderman Causey.
Second.
A second from Alderman Countermine. Any other discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
All right, motion carried. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of a special event application for the Sorcerer's Sprint Harry Potter Celebration. That always draws a big crowd. Yes, it does.
Mayor, would you ask if there's anybody here to represent it?
Anyone here to speak to that? All right. Alderman, what's your pleasure there?
Is this one of the routes that the chief has
That-
approved?
That's what I was going to bring up.
Sorry,
It's
I could wait.
yeah, it's a 1 mile
I
run.
jumped too far. Jumped too quick.
I'm trying to insert myself in the conversation. Sorry, I'm out of order. So one is the proof of insurance. As you know, several months ago, maybe even a year ago, it was basically standard operating procedure for the hold harmless to be signed and the proof of insurance. At the time prior to the action of the board, I've not seen a more up-to-date proof of insurance. The only thing that we had as part of the packet was last year's, and Ms. Freeman, Donna, did send out an email asking for the proof of insurance. So that's one I've not seen a current one for the event. The other is talking to the chief, is that there was some 1 mile routes that were basically approved by the board to be those pre-approved routes. This is one of those that I would recommend. I don't know whether or not you're going to take action on this one tonight, but in the future for those folks with the 1 mile to sit down with Chief Rice, or we can send them the predetermined 1 mile race. Those are more for those that are excluded or not part of any kind of after event, not like St. Patrick's Day or David Crockett run. We have those end up in downtown, and then there's another function of that event. So those are just a couple of things. But as far as I know, there's not a proof of insurance for the current one presented.
I think that's something we want to get into a habit, make sure that we have that before we vote on it. So this is something we might want to just move to next month.
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion to delay it to next month.
Okay. Sounds good.
One of the things that staff may need to address with the event, we have several of these that tell us, oh, you can't get the insurance until 30 days before the event. But we have quite a number of events in Jonesborough that get theirs before that. I think it's just the specific insurance agency they're working with. We had one last year that I recommended they go to a different insurance company if they were having trouble with that, which they did. They got their insurance, it was fine. But I just want to make you all aware, if you hear that's, that may be a specific company, but it's not. We've not run into that problem with many of the events that you have.
Yeah. Well, I think we've been doing a better job of not moving on things like that, so we'll let that pass.
And can we ask that they meet with Chief?
Yes, I would recommend both proof of insurance and meet with
Delay
Chief
and-
Rice.
Okay.
Mhm.
Jim, do we need to formally vote to defer it or not?
It's your pleasure on that, but there's no time requirement for us approving or disapproving one of these, but it's up to you all if you want to take action.
Yeah, we can take Virginia's motion as to delay, and also require them to sit down and meet with Chief Rice for the run.
I'll second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to delay it and ask the event coordinator to meet with Chief Rice. Any discussion on that? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Countermine.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Now we move into discussion and possible action concerning approval of the Smart Gallery. And that seems like a very nice little thing.
Yeah, so I saw this and I kept thinking, it's a neat idea, but why is it the the small art.
Small.
Small
Yeah, small art.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, that's right.
Smart art. I was wondering the same. What makes it so smart?
Probably because staff did the subject line and thought it was a smart idea. Very good.
It's a neat
I
idea.
didn't notice it.
Oh, I see it right now.
I didn't notice it.
I knew it was small, but I thought it must be small, so that's smart.
Yeah, so a neat idea, and if you went to the website, some really sharp artists and what they've done. So
Excellent. I move to approve.
I got a motion to approve from Alderman Countermine,
I'll say.
second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion on the small art?
Should we add that they need to meet with the town administrator or his designee, like he asked up in the presentation?
Yeah, I think you see a
approve
little
the
mention
design
here, Terry,
location.
additionally. Glenn would like to meet to him on any intended design before the artist embarks on it.
Sure.
I think that's a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
You gonna add that to your motion?
Yes.
All right. Accept that, Adam?
No, certainly, yes.
All righty. So, any other discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Counterman.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf. Aye.
Thank you for catching that there, Virginia. I had that circled.
And Donna.
Yep. All right, next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of amendment to the town purchasing policy. I think that's well timed. Appreciate Glenn and Robert working on that. Alderman, any discussion on that?
No, just glad it's over. I'll make the motion to approve.
A motion to approve from Alderman Wolf. Second from Alderman Countermine. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Counterman.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning approval of the Community Development Partners Contract for additional services. And they do great work for us. Are Alderman, any comments or questions about that? None. It certainly seems to be in order.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Alderman Dixon.
Second.
Second from Alderman Wolf. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Counterman.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, last item on the agenda, something I touched on there earlier, is just discussion and possible action concerning approval of the 2023 mowing season bids. And I think we came out really good right here. And Alderman, what's your pleasure there?
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve from Alderman Wolf.
Second.
Second from Alderman Causey. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Mr. Recorder.
Alderman Wolf.
Aye.
Alderman Causey.
Aye.
Alderman Counterman.
Aye.
Alderman Dixon.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Next item is adjournment.
I'll
Thank
make
you all.
that motion.